You gave a presentation here at the ergonomics International Ergonomics Conference, and it was about everything. You know, it was about international. Politics. It was about technology. It was about human trends. Is that all important for ergonomics? I mean, is that
well? I mean, absolutely. I mean, ergonomics is a discipline of connecting humans to the rest of the world. It is about these interconnections of things. So we need to understand what's happening in the world so we can make and help facilitate these interconnections. So and one of the biggest trends, one of the things we see around us, for example, is always about technology.
Yeah.
And human factors has a long history of, in fact, its birth is in this human technology interaction. Actually started off in aeroplanes, and now we just have all this new advanced technology, and we need to make sure that we understand what are the trends in technology, how do we connect to those. But we've also understood over the years that it's not just about the technology.
No,
it's also about the aspects that change in the humans, the aspects that change in the human's environment.
Yeah.
So putting all of those things together really helps us understand how we make the connections.
I thought it was great. Anyway, if you now look at ergonomics, and for example the car you had as an example, and actually that was the other guy and he said, there were examples of the car where the accelerator was on the other side, and so there's two things. The human has to accept the machine and has to adapt to the machine, and the machine has to adapt to the human. And I think so far, apart from the car, which is nicely standardized, the human always has to basically adapt to the machine, right? Now, this theme is about AI.
Yes.
Right? Does that mean that AI is able to understand the human at a much higher level, deeper level, and that the machine will in the future adapt much more to the human instead of the other way around?
Well, so I mean, just a correction here. I mean, the main principle of human factors and ergonomics is not for the human to adapt to the machine. It is about understanding what human limitations are and adapting the technology to the human limitations.
Now, that's the principle.
That's the principle.
That's the principle.
What actually happens in practice is,
I would say,
what happens in practice, because many disciplines are not using human factors.
I would say, if you look at Microsoft, how the human has to adapt to the machine and have this option here and that option there. It's mind-bogglingly.
And then if you move from one machine, like you move from an Android machine to a OS machine, Mac OS machine, you see that you have to make all sorts of accommodations.
Yeah.
But AI is in some senses fundamentally different, because it is an intelligence of sorts. It's
not so stupid.
It's an interactive agent. It's a collaborative agent. And that's actually how we prefer in human factors and ergonomics. We don't talk about it as artificial intelligence, as a technology. We refer to it as an agent. And in this case over here, an active agent in the process.
Yeah.
But behind that sits a human. The human is the person who designed the technology, the person who is the person who designed the algorithms. So the AI, the agent, is actually an intermediary between human-human interaction. So, but with learning with learning capabilities.
Yeah.
So it has capabilities to adapt.
Yeah. So are we going to a higher level of the machine understanding who we are? We can talk to it.
Yeah.
It can understand the meaning. It can understand what we're really trying to do, and in that way become much more simple to use and much more intelligent.
That is a possibility. If we program that into its design, yes, it can do that.
Yeah. But will it? I mean, it is a possibility. That's very careful.
Yeah.
Do you see in front of you a wonderful time that we as humans can understand the machine much better, or that the machine can understand it so we can operate much better? Or do you see all kinds of problems ahead?
I see problems ahead at the moment, because human factors is not engaged at that level of the design. At the moment, we have programmers who sit down and think about, well, what can we do? And so the technology, this particular technology, is advancing according to what the programmers can do, not necessarily what humans want.
Yeah.
B,
because programmers and humans are not the same. They're not the same.
Not the same. Not the same. No. They're different species altogether.
Species, yes.
No, I mean, in terms of their thinking and what they're trying to achieve, they're not the same. Obviously, they're both humans, but in what they're trying to achieve is quite different. In the same way that what a worker on a shop floor is trying to achieve versus what a CEO of an organization is trying to achieve. These are two different things.
I'm just making fun of the I appreciate the programmers very much, but it is, for me, it has been very, I mean, if I wanted to do something, I want to make a system, I have to explain to the programmers through documents or through pictures or through all kinds of systems or flows, and that seems to be, it was a long way.
I mean,
it can be better nowadays.
Yeah, well, it definitely can be. The problem I'm seeing at the moment, and this is where, if I was an AI developer at the moment, I'd be worried about the AI bubble, in the same way you're worrying about the internet bubble. Because what we're doing now with artificial intelligence is we're designing artificial intelligence to do the things that humans are already good at. When in fact, what humans want is we want our machines to do the things that we're not good at.
Yes.
So, to put it this way, I want my AI to give more time so that I can do creative work. Not the other way around, which is happening at the moment. The AI is doing the creative work so that I have more time to wash the dishes. So if AI developers don't get that right, people are going to move away from AI.
So you think that ergonomics, the ergonomics world has a role, could possibly be a role in saying, hey, the human together with the human with the machine can be so much better. I mean, that's basically progress.
Well, exactly.
Humans and machines being together, and you still see a very big role for humans.
I think human factors in ergonomics has a fundamental role, not a role, has a fundamental role here to link what our developers are doing with what the rest of humanity wants. Without that, the AI bubble will burst.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you using yourself? How aware, how involved are you yourself with AI? How much are you practicing with it yourself?
So, in two ways. First of all, is teaching my students how to use it appropriately in class. So, for example, how to generate essays, how to fact check essays, looking at the limitations of, we're just talking now about generative AI. Some of the generative AI, the hallucinations, the biases that it inserts into what it is that it's putting together. Because essentially, it's a probabilistic algorithm.
But that is a very dismissive way to basically put it. Because I mean, I think it does miracles. But you said you said in the panel, you said it takes me about 3 seconds to see the summary of that the summary sucks.
Absolutely, yes.
That's not good enough.
Yeah.
So you think the quality of AI at the moment is not good enough?
Well, for an expert, no. For a student, absolutely. And for anyone on that journey, you can see that it's creating shortcuts. But for an expert in an area, it's very easy to see where the holes are almost immediately.
And that was 2 years ago, and then a year ago, and now do you see how fast is it progressing?
Definitely progressing. Not as fast as the AI gurus are describing it as progressing. In fact, in 2 years, we've probably made an incremental advancement compared to the advancements of pre-LLM to immediate post-LLM. We've seen incremental changes over the last 2 years.
You're not so impressed about the speed of improvement?
No, not yet.
Okay. My wife is a PhD psychologist, and she totally agrees. She's writing papers, and she says, if I ask her to do research, it's bad quality.
Yeah.
But everybody accepts it as good quality.
So, I mean, at the same time, it gives me nightmares about how, particularly my role, this last workshop, which we're talking about now, is about journals and journal publishing. The nightmare I have is that I serve as an editor of a journal of made-up knowledge. Knowledge which is generated by people sitting around giving prompts to large language models, telling it what to write, when there's actually no empirical evidence that sits underneath that. you know,
you get more and more of that stuff coming in.
I mean, we're I don't know. That's also
Really?
that's also another problem. Is that the one thing that's not keeping up with that is the ability to be able to spot the AI.
Yes.
With through the review process.
You don't see it, and you see, oh my God, I see the prompt in front of you. You don't recognize it yet.
No, not always. Not. That's not easy.
So it makes your job difficult.
It does, and a good reviewer will turn around and say, I'm worried about this, but we don't always have good reviewers. And so that, you know, those types of things worry me. You can also of course use LLMs to generate data. You can ask it to generate a data set.
Yes.
And so you may have a real data set that sits behind an analysis, but it's a real data set which has no basis in actual collection of data. So you know, so those sorts of things worry me. The reinterpretation of what is reality through a particularly generative AI does keep me awake at night sometimes.
Okay, but you say in 3 minutes or 3 seconds you can see if the summary is not good.
Yep.
But it's hard for you as an editor to basically see if the article is not written by AI or if the data set is not real. So that is really a real problem. That
is a real problem. So I mean, there's an order of difference here. You know, if you're making a statement, for example, just turn around and say that, you know, hedgehogs are larger than elephants. It's easy to turn around and say within 3 seconds whether the AI is just making that up or not. But it's a lot more difficult if you ask a question to say, generate me an essay that has the following points and reaches the following conclusions and is based on the following data set, which I'm going to give you and ask you to make up, so that it backs up and supports the type of. If you give it that, that's a lot more difficult to work out whether that's real or not real.
Yeah, that's true. Do you tell your students to use it, and do you tell them what's acceptable and what's not acceptable? Do you have a system for that now in your head? And is that university wide, or is that more
not university wide? I work with a fantastic group of people, some of whom have come from an education background. And so we spend a lot of time talking about how we're going to go through and do this. So there are different, and it's
every
not
university, everybody's trying to figure out. Okay, so, back to the role which the ergonomic society has to play. You say you see a very important role to be the interface between humanity and the AI machine, which needs to be taught a certain way. How is it going?
Terribly at the moment.
Okay.
You know, we don't have answers. We don't have data. We are not included in the development processes.
OpenAI hasn't called you yet.
So we are.
OpenAI. Listen, I mean, this is the guy. I mean, these people are used to work on the human interface, the human-machine interface. And,
I mean, I don't think it's up to OpenAI to call us. It's up to us to find mechanisms to get into those spaces. It is up to us to demonstrate our value, the value add that we have. Theoretically, we understand where the problems are because we've seen. I mean, technology moves in circles. This is new, but the circle is the same. Yes. So we've seen and we can anticipate what the problems are going to be. Some of those problems have not yet been realized, but that's, in my opinion, a matter of time.
Do you think we need to prove our value? Do you also mean that by law you should be included about, you know, from the United Nations perspective or the European community, or should it be a voluntarily connection, or should it be also more a strict?
No, we need to develop our credentials on the ground. We need to demonstrate our value through case studies. The International Ergonomics Association actually has a document on this, which practitioners in human factors and ergonomics are welcome to use, or anyone that's freely available can go and have a look and see. And particularly the document I was involved in putting together on talking to CEOs. You know, it's talking about how do we reduce errors. It's called ergonomics, IEA ergonomics in a nutshell, talking to CEOs. You know, so it's about how do we reduce errors, how do we increase profits, how do we increase satisfaction with products, how do we make sure that
by using AI, by specifically using AI or ergonomics in general,
by specifically using human factors and ergonomics.
Okay, so that is the broad defense of ergonomics in general. But AI is it just a technology, or is it just a bigger and more complex beast? Because I mean, it goes directly to our brain.
Yeah.
It's not mechanical. It's not software which does a specific thing. It is the way we talk, the way we interpret it, the way we look. Is it just technology, or is it, which we've done before? Is it a more special animal in your?
I mean, it is a it's evolutionary, isn't it? So it hasn't come out of nowhere. So
No.
it isn't fundamentally different from a software program. It can perform specific functions. What is different is its capability to adapt. There's far more adaptability capabilities than, for example, your software. Yeah. We've slowly been moving in that direction. So, for example, things like predictive texts are simple ways of adaptation. So we've slowly been moving in those directions.
That was more frustrating. The robots, the talking. It was horrible. It was just like the only thing you want to do with a robot, get me a human. You know, it doesn't understand me. But now there's a problem that it's so good that everybody believes it's real and it's true and it's good, even though it's not. You know, that is
well, I mean, it's. I think about this from a psychological perspective. You said your wife's a psychologist. I mean, this is
extremely dangerous.
A lot of it's dangerous because it smokes.
So convincing.
It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
It's
very good smoking mirrors.
It's what a close-up magician does.
Yeah.
Distract you this way while doing something else in another direction. So. You know, and at some point the magician does get caught out, unless they keep on becoming a better and better magician. So unless it can continue becoming a better magician, and I haven't seen that next step, great leap forward.
Right.
But if that does happen, and that is a possibility, then we will continue within our illusion. But there is a bigger danger there. If we take the next step into that illusion, we have the capability to give up our humanity to a machine, and I'm not sure.
I can see if you're talking about the camp of AI is the most wonderful thing, and it's the biggest threat to humanity. I mean, you're in the middle, but you're somewhere more into the danger and not that you're totally enthusiastic that this will be a completely redesign of ergonomics. And it will be very positive. The positive and negative, you're still a little bit more to the.
I would say so. I would definitely say so.
Well, we'll see how you are next year and how you perform. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I've got 10 minutes to get my bag. Thank you very much for the time.